here. Looks like we're, well, it's a preparing to live stream meeting.
I see live on YouTube in the corner.
Yeah, we've got a little like hourglass thing here.
Okay,
Loading up. We're about halfway there, so.
I'll put it on my phone. So
Good. It looks like we're live.
we're live. All right.
Woohoo!
Let's roll. Okay, then I will call the April 23rd meeting of the Planning Commission to order, and I will ask for a roll call.
Tony, could you read those off? I'm just trying to get back to my PowerPoint here.
Sure. Wayne Clark,
Yes.
Kathleen Dagenhart,
Yes.
Brian Frank, Ben Holt, John Kekheisen, Amanda Nowak,
Here.
Rossi Menka,
Here.
David Rashka,
Here.
Tom Rebstock, Eric Torkelson,
Present.
and Dan Devine.
Here. Okay. A quorum is present. We'll move to item C, which will be a motion to approve the minutes from our meeting on March 25th.
Motion to approve.
I'll second. Kathleen.
Motion by Commissioner
Eric.
and a second by Commissioner Dagenhart. Were there any changes to the minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are approved. Okay, we will go to section D, item 2. Who's doing item 2?
That's me, the mayor, Steve. There we go. Okay, so item 2 is Advanced Welding Supply Incorporated. They are currently located at 9036 Schlinger Avenue, and they're proposing a building addition as well as a tank installation, 3 tanks. We'll get into the site plan next. You can see the location of that. But they're an existing company in West Allis. They're expanding. It's indicated in the staff report. And there are some site landscaping and architectural changes that we're going to go through tonight. With us tonight on the meeting are the owners of the company, Chris and John Albanese.
Hello. Hello.
And so here's the property at 90th, basically 90th and Schlinger Avenue. It's on the north side of Schlinger. Properties to the north. It's actually a double fronting property. Conrad Lane is behind the property. To the north, Schlinger Avenue is on the south. And then it's bounded in between 2 other commercial or light industrial properties on either side, both east and west of the property. To the south of Schlinger is the La Follette home retirement community, as well as a single family residential neighborhood. This is an existing business. The basic concept as part of the Albanese's expansion here that was introduced to us a couple months ago was basically this, what you see on the screen here, to add about a 1,200 square foot addition with a tank pad for a few tanks, as well as a fill apron to access the tanks. And in the welding supply business, they need argon and nitrogen and liquid oxygen, basically to help supply their customers, which range from basically do-it-yourselfers, residents within the community or local area, as well as companies and businesses throughout the area as well. The next slide here shows the site plan that was submitted. Again, that addition right up in front along Schlinger Avenue, just an extension off of the west side of the building. Behind that, the 4 tanks that would be installed on the concrete pad. If you recall in that previous slide, in the aerial view, you see that there are 2 driveway entrances to the property currently. And that's going to change. One of the driveways will be, actually both driveways will be closed and be consolidated into a new driveway, about a new 30-foot driveway facing Schlinger Avenue. And that'll provide access for both customers, employees, and delivery vehicles to the site. There are 3 existing truck docks on the property, which currently exist. It's a closer view, an enlarged view of the site plan showing the addition. Schlinger Avenue being on the right side of your screen, with the tanks being behind or north of the new building addition, which is shown there in orange. The OHDs, those are overhead doors. So those are existing overhead doors that you can see with the sort of those square boxes with the X's in them. This is a cross-section view. If you were standing in Schlinger Avenue, it would be on the right-hand side of that cross-section view. And then it will transition to basically a parking area right in front of the building that's for an accessible ADA stall. And then the building addition is shown in that dashed orange color. And then behind that is existing building and then the tank location. So you can see that the tanks will be insulated and obstructed in terms of view from Schlinger Avenue. This is an existing view of the property looking from Schlinger. You can see the two driveways, that'll change. And there's currently a chain link fence around the property. For the most part, the chain link fence is going to stay with the exception of the area along Schlinger Avenue. It's going to be converted, when they remove that chain link fence, it's going to be converted to a ornamental decorative style of fence. Continues to provide security to the property, but it also provides some nice curb appeal from Schlinger Avenue. This is just another, I guess, a detailed view of the site and landscaping plan. The fence location, that ornamental fence we just talked about, is going to be that red dashed line that you see on the site plan. And then there's going to be landscaping on the outside of that new fence, as well as you can see the one driveway accessing the site and the position of the addition to the existing building. The new fence is going to be about 6 feet tall. And I know the site and the landscaping plan in this case shows a swinging gate, but it's actually going to be a rolling gate. And that way it doesn't cut off access to that ADA stall in front of the addition. Architecturally, this is the original plan that was submitted to the city for review. And basically, it's not, I guess, in working with Advanced Welding Supply, it hasn't changed much, but I'd say there are some notable tweaks which we feel improves the look. One of the things that staff was asking for, recommended as part of our negotiations with Advanced Welding, is just a little bit larger windows. And I know they may be hard to see here, but just expanding the windows and dropping them down slightly along these dashed lines. And then they came back to us with a revised set of architectural plans, and they've done just that. They've expanded the size of the windows facing Schlinger Avenue. The lower photograph, or not photograph, but elevation, the west elevation, that's a customer entrance. There'll be a ramp with a railing. Some new lighting will be both on the south elevation as well as on the west elevation. And then the tanks, again, behind that new building addition. It is a metal sided building to match the existing building that's currently on site. There'll be two different shades of gray, I think a darker gray and a lighter gray. The building height is roughly about almost 15 feet tall, and the tanks behind are slightly taller at about, gosh, I think I've got another slide here that shows the height of them, but slightly taller than the building. Let's go back. I want to say they're about 23 or so feet tall. So staff is recommending approval subject to the conditions in your staff report. The conditions that we have remaining here are fairly typical in terms of plan revisions. The revisions that we're talking about here are some specific color details and just confirming the height of the overall height of the fence. That the rolling gate just being shown accurately on the landscaping plan to be shown as a rolling gate versus a swinging gate. And then if there is going to be any outdoor storage or equipment on site, the zoning ordinance requires that it be beyond the front yard setback. And then we'll also want to ensure that it's shown on a site plan and properly screened from view. So with that, we can take any questions. And Chris and John, if you guys want to clarify anything as part of this presentation, you're more than welcome.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah, Wayne?
thank you. This looks like a good plan. I got a couple of questions. One, when will construction start? And also the height of the tanks, or the height of the highest tank.
Sure. Chris or John, do you want to talk about the schedule?
Thank you, Wayne, for your question. First of all, we plan to get started as soon as permissible by the city and in accordance with our financial institution as well. So we would first obtain the permit and then go to banking people and secure a loan to accomplish this. As far as the height on the tank, Christopher, do you know off the top of your head? I know we submitted that information. I don't have it.
Let me see if I can find it in that email. I know you.
I'm going to pull up. The beauty of being able to do this from our desks is I too can pull that up. I'm working on it right now as the architect on it.
Oh, hi, Jeremy. Hi.
Hi. Yeah. Hang 1 second. If you find it first, you let me know.
Okay.
So just to clarify, the building height is 15 feet. The fence height is 22 feet. And the unknown until it's discovered is the tank height.
I think it said the fence height would be 6 foot. The fence height.
Yeah.
Steve?
That is correct. Yep.
I'm sorry, say that again.
The fence height, the new fence that's going to be added along Schlinger Avenue will be 6 feet tall.
I thought you referenced a 22-foot height.
Oh, the tanks will be taller. Yeah, the tanks are 20 feet plus, and we're just looking for the specific height that are received from.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is Brian. The largest tank that you have would be 23.5 feet high, or 22.5 feet high.
Okay, thank you, Brian.
After that, it kind of goes down to about.
Thank you. And then, Mr. Mayor, a follow-up question. And at that height, is there any, I guess, Steve, this question's for you. Is there any reference or any concern relative to the neighborhood on a tank of that height?
No, the addition will be substantial, we feel, and covering more than half of the tank. The tanks are going to be situated, again, not out in the front yard, but definitely behind the new addition in the loading area. So we feel that's sufficient to obstruct the view to the neighborhood. It'll be a similar color as well as the building.
Mr. Mayor, I'd move approval.
Steve, if I may too, I didn't want to interrupt your process here. This is Dave.
I did.
I do need to abstain from voting and comment on this one, as our office was working on the drawings, just for the record.
Okay, thank you, David.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I do have a question real quick.
Go ahead, Brian.
The trees that are there, are they going to be, you're not taking the trees down or anything like that? This is not going to intrude on that, is it?
We don't anticipate, there are no trees within the parameter of our lot.
Okay. All right. Well, that's why I'm just looking at the picture right now, and I just see, that because there's a trail behind there and stuff like that. I just want to make sure that, yeah, if that's not going to intrude the trees, then I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can confirm that. There's one large tree out in the front lot. We're not touching that, and the trees in the rear yard are also not being touched.
Okay.
Okay, there was a motion by Wayne. Does anybody want to second it?
I'll second Kathleen.
Okay. And is there any other discussion on the motion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Is anybody opposed? And please record one abstention.
Got it.
Item carries. Thank
Thank
you.
you, John. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you, members.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate you.
All right.
Mayor and Steve, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
And then we will now move on to item 3.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Item 3 is for Chris Hansen, Labs at 9015 Maple Street. Thomas Rasmussen is here on behalf of Chris Hansen. And Chris Hansen's been a long time corporate resident of the city at roughly 92nd and Lapham. A couple months ago, if you recall, there was a proposed expansion of their plant that was approved by the Planning Commission to build on another 20,000 square feet on the west side of their existing freezer production facility. With that, there was a substantial amount of changes in terms of the parking lot layouts, access to the site. They've purchased properties surrounding them, including the Knights of Columbus and some other apartment buildings to the east. All of that is zoned manufacturing now. The thing we're going to be talking about this evening is just some new tanks, again, with like advanced welding, except these are liquid nitrogen tanks on the north side of their building. They currently have 3. You may be able to see them here on the screen. There's 3 currently there. They're going to be adding 3 more over here, along with rearranging some of the loading docks and adding a sound barrier. This is just a closer view of that previous slide, showing a closer look at the area of the project where the new tanks are going to be located. Again, on the north side of the existing freezer building, one of the coldest freezers in North America or the Northern Hemisphere, Thomas?
I think both.
Both? Okay, yeah. So, and this is the sort of a existing and proposed look. The slide on the top is the north elevation of the loading dock area on the north side of the building. The image below is with the 3 new tanks. 2 of the tanks will be about 43 feet tall. The second or third tank, the lower one, is about 19 feet tall, and very much like the other 2 or 3, I guess, existing tanks a little bit further west on the property. We'll get a closer look at this in some coming slides, but you can see that there's going to be some new fence installed around the proposed project area. It would consist of a sound wall as well as some other style, chain link style of fencing. And we're asking, I guess, for some flexibility with Chris Hansen. There may actually be more sound wall created as a result of this. As part of our recommendation, you'll see that we're asking for a sound barrier at both existing tank installation as well as the proposed. This is just a closer view showing the 2 43-foot tall tanks, and then the third being a 19-foot tall tank. 15,000 gallons for the taller ones and a 3,000 gallon for the shorter one. This is a plan view or a site plan view of looking down. This is the proposed project area here. The 2 taller tanks and the shorter one, and these are existing. And then staff is recommending that the I guess sound barriers be installed at both locations. Just a closer view of the project area. Now, when deliveries come, the truck just backs into this area here, and the tanks are filled. In terms of the context of what we had approved a couple of months ago with the phased addition, first phased addition here again being on the west side of that freezer area, and this is the location of the new tanks within this red dashed area here. There is new landscaping that's being proposed along 92nd Street, new parking areas as well. The access is all changed. This 91st Street access, which currently comes in here, is being cut off and landscaped, and that was all approved 2 months ago in February. But I just wanted to show this just as a reminder of that the site is very well landscaped currently. There's going to be some additional landscaping going in with that phased 1 addition. With the removal of the older apartment buildings over here and the acquisition of the property, this will all feature perimeter landscaping ranging with evergreen landscaping and deciduous landscaping combined. And then along Mitchell Street here is already very well landscaped. And there's going to be some additional landscaping going in here. So we feel that, the tanks, while they are on the north side of the building, and they do feature a 6-foot tall fence around them, you're really not going to be able to see them. I mean, when you're on Mitchell Street now and you're looking southbound towards the existing back of house, you have to sort of find your view to see the tanks now. It is a very concealed and screened area currently. So we feel that they've done a very good job over the years and will continue to, as they grow. We're not very concerned about the new tanks being an eyesore on the back of the building because it is such a well landscaped site. So we're recommending approval subject to item 1 in your Planning Commission agenda or staff report, just adding additional acoustical sound wall around the existing tanks as well as the proposed location. And then just working with Chris Hansen on the final drawing and specifications with respect to those fenced areas and sound wall. If there's any questions, or Thomas, if you have anything to add.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah, Wayne?
a question for Steve. When will construction of this project begin?
Thomas, you want to?
So that will start in July. So we will be casting the concrete late June and the tanks will go in late July.
And then what's the status of the phase 1 project? Where is that in the construction process?
So it's actually starting this week. If you drive by now, you'll see that we have the fence up. We have pulled down the interior fence. And next week, they'll start the excavations on the former Knights of Columbus property.
Thank you. I'd move approval.
I second.
And a second by Brian.
Brian,
Is there questions, or is there any discussion? Give you a second in case anyone's trying to unmute themselves. Okay, I am hearing no discussion. So all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is there anybody opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. And item 3 is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you.
And now we will move on to items 4A and 4B.
Okay.
All right,
Tony.
thank you, Mayor. I'm gonna take over Steve's screen here. All right. That's my mouse. Nice. So item 4 is for Brainiacs Academy 2. So they're opening up their second location. Their first location is in Wauwatosa. And their new proposed location will be at 5806 West National Avenue. That's right across the street from Kegel's Inn. So they're proposing to open up a daycare facility, and that will occupy the former Light of Grace Church. And before that was a church, it was a daycare space. But since it was a church last, the change of use triggers a special use permit. So the daycare will provide childcare to a maximum of 2 infants and 31 children. That's what their square footage allows from what is permitted with the state. And the proposed hours are Monday through Friday from 6 to 10 p.m. Wow. They are zoned C3, Community Commercial District, and daycare businesses are special use in that district. The public hearing would be for May 19th, 2020. So that's the building right there. And across the parking lot is the play lot where the kids would go play. So they would have to cross through the parking lot to get to the play lot. This is a look at the interior of the space. So the kids have 1,086 square feet of space. So that's basically the area that I'm circling here. And up here is the infant's room. That's 81 square feet. So not a very big room, which is why they're only allowed 2 infants at this daycare facility. So those are the 2 childcare rooms. They also have 2 restrooms, 2 offices, and then a small kitchen here. Per fire department's recommendation, they have added a second egress from the infants room, and they have added ramps at each of the points of egress so that nobody has to go up a curb. They actually have a graded ramp to be able to go in and out of the building. The play lot is almost 2,500 square feet, and staff is recommending a marked walkway connecting the building to the play lot. Since we are on busy National Avenue, we want to make sure that the kids have a safe way to get to and from the building and the play lot. The parking requirements, they are only required to have 4 parking spaces per their square footage, and this parking lot has 27. So even with the use of the other building on the property, they still have more than enough parking at this space. And this is a look at the fence outside of the play lot. We took note of this fence because we see that it could use some repairs or a replacement, just to kind of be more updated and look nicer for parents and the kids, and keep things a little safer too. So staff recommends approval subject to the architect providing fencing details for the playground area and adding a striped walkway in the parking lot connecting the daycare to the playground.
Mr. Mayor?
Sorry, got to unmute myself. Thank you, Tony. Wayne?
Yes, Tony, you mentioned a public hearing in May. Is that with the Common Council?
That's correct.
I'm sorry, you said yes?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
It's Kathleen.
Yes.
Is the play area going to be fenced in? I can't tell. Is it?
Yes, we're asking them to replace the fence with maybe a more decorative wooden fence.
Okay, but that's the play area too, not just, okay, I gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions?
Tony, this is Eric.
Go ahead, Eric.
I just had a question. Was there any discussion about exterior lighting on the parking lot, looking into the playground area, and also about security cameras, since there is like some distance that the children would have to walk from the building to the play area?
That's a good point. We have not discussed that. That's something that I can bring up to the architect and the business owner.
All right, thank you very much.
Sure.
Hi, it's Rossi. And the same thing with the walking pad. It'd be nice to see some fencing along there too, just because kids tend to run off. So I don't know if just the walking pad would be sufficient to keep them inside.
Okay.
Those are my thoughts. And like Eric said, it's pretty far from the building.
Right.
Thank you. So those are things, Tony, you can just discuss with the owners.
Yes, I'll discuss with the owners and the architects and see if they can add that into their plan.
Okay. If there are no other questions, does anybody want to make a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve staff recommendations. This is Eric.
Thank you, Eric.
I'll second this, Kathleen.
Thank you, Kathleen. Is there any other discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? The motion carries. And we have item 5.
So this next and last item is a certified survey map. It's a combination of 2 properties for Peter Agnos. So this is part of a meeting the conditions of a special use that was approved this past summer for a pizza restaurant right at this part of the building. So part of that special use one of the conditions was to combine these two properties. So that's why we're taking a look at this today. So the certified survey map combines these two properties, and you see this in the drawing here on the left. The space is zone C2, neighborhood commercial district, and in addition to meeting the conditions of the special use permit for the pizza restaurant, the property owner would like to combine the two for administrative ease. And staff recommends approval of this combination of properties.
Thank you, Tony. Any questions?
Mr. Mayor,
Wayne?
would you go back to that prior slide, please? On that slide, where was Peter's restaurant?
Right here, it's at the northern part of the building.
And is that what's being, one of the parcels that's being combined?
No, so Peter Agnos owns both of these parcels. So this is one here that I'm circling, and the other one is on the other side of this line. So this piece here. So just as a condition of opening up that restaurant, since all restaurants are require a special use, we're asking them to combine these two properties.
So this is Brian. So that second property is basically the parking lot? Is that what I'm looking at?
That's right, yeah. It's just full of parking.
Gotcha.
Like the strip of parking behind the building.
Yep. Right. Gotcha. I move for approval.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second. Dave.
Second by Dave Rashka. Okay. If there is no discussion on the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Item is approved. And then that will wrap up our agenda this evening. Is there anybody that wants to, Steve, you don't have any announcements or anything that are?
No, thank you all for taking the time and using Zoom.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
And we're live on YouTube?
We are.
So
Yeah.
30 minutes of my fame. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to mark that off my list now.
Brian, there are 2 people watching on YouTube, and I'm one of them. So.
Yes.
So is Road.
Some revenue off of that.
The other one. All right. So then I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll move that we adjourn. Kathleen.
Second, Brian.
Second by Brian. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.